Yes, yes, yes. UNA. Yeah. Let's do that again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. UNA. Yeah. Halo. Halo. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I'm yours truly, Diva Laree. Diva Laree. My people in YouTube, welcome. Let me get y'all on in here. Halo. Yes, yes, yes. UNA. Yeah. Welcome everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Laree, representing the UNA University and UNA Republic. Welcome. Every time I go on, I have to make sure I have my products with me. Let me get my products. Hold on. Come on, they're being stubborn. Come on up here so everybody can see you. All right. Welcome, everybody. I want to thank you for joining Diva Laree with the UNA University, UNA Republic. Today, what we're talking about history. All right. History or history as we know of it. So, we want to get into this today. I want to get on some things that we need to know. The topic for today is history we need to know. All right. For those of y'all who don't know, make sure you get this UNA beginner law book. Okay, you can find the link in the bio. All right, find the link in the bio, or you could go to unauniversity.com. Unauniversity.com, and you can get this. If you get the ebook, you get the ebook. That's $14.99, or you can get the physical copy. All right, this physical copy comes with a laminated copy of the hierarchy of law chart. It comes with the laminated copy of the universal laws. It comes with the laminated copy of the vibratory frequency chart. Now, all of these are in the book, but we laminate them, sending you copies because we want you to put them up. We want you to make these laws become a part of you. All right, so you can get these on the UNA site, okay? UNA University. All right, we want to welcome everybody. All my people in YouTube, hello. My people in TikTok, hello. We're going to get on some history today. Now, why is history so important? You all hear me talking about this now. A lot of times when I go into history, uh, the last time I went too deep into history, I got flagged for what do they say? Hate speech. All right. And then I'll get other people who will say, oh, this is separatism, or so you're being separatist, and we all got to come together. So let's understand something. We know this phrase: if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, right? All right, that is very true. And I need y'all to understand there's a lot about history that has been hidden from us, a lot. Okay, and not only are you doomed to repeat it, but you're never going to be able to build if you don't know the truth about history, because the fact is that we're trying to create some kind of togetherness with people who we don't even know. We don't understand who they are. All right. We've been made to think that just because we're all the same skin color, pay attention, that we're all the same people. And how long have we been saying, oh, we got to come together? They've been saying this since decades before I was even born. Oh, we got to come together as a people. Well, here's the problem. What? You can't hear me? Doggone it. Hold on. They can't hear me in YouTube. Let me see. Let let Give me one moment. What is going on in YouTube? I mean TikTok rather. All right, hold on YouTube. Give me 1 second. I'm not getting audio. All right, maybe that'll do it. All right. Who turned my audio off? Who turned it off? Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? 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 Let's see if I can. If you all can hear me on can you hear me? Can you and TikTok hear me? If you can hear me, uh leave me a message. Hold on. Let me see if I'm getting sound now. Thank y'all for your patience, YouTube. Y'all are so patient. All two of you. Thank you all. Give me 1 second, so I can see if I'm getting some audio in my feed for TikTok before I get started. Let me see. Sounds. Do I have sound? Okay, I got sound. Let's see. Let me see my volume. Oh, shit. Oh, my volume is down. I don't know who did this to my. All right, stop singing. Now, let me see if I got volume now. All right. Can you hear me now? TikTok. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm good with this sign language, I'm telling you. Can you hear me? No. They said no. All right, let me try one more thing. I'm gonna use another apparatus is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use another apparatus. So they understood my sign language. I said, can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna work on it. Okay, for one moment. So they can't hear me on this apparatus for whatever reason. I'm not sure why that is, but we're going to get another speaking to one another with songs apparatus and songs from the Spirit. And then we're going to move forward 5, verse 19. Because I've got to go into class today.
Is perfect, refreshing the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy.
All right. All right, TikTok. I'm starting it over. How you say starting it over? I need to work on my sign language. I am going to return. I'm backing out and I'm going to return. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. I'm working on it. Let me get up out of here. Somebody said okay. They understood what I'm saying. All right. So I'm ending that. And we're going to start another session in TikTok. And then we're gonna go right into this because I gotta get out of here. All right, so I'm going live on TikTok now. All right. So hopefully they will come back. All right. Thank you so much for your patience, all two of you all in YouTube. Thanks so much. All right, so we're gonna get this started. Give me a moment. All right. Still loading, still loading, still loading. What's going on with you, apparatus? I don't know how to back out. Oh wait, we're live. I was ready to cancel it. All right. We're live. Thank you for your patience, YouTube, if you're still there. If you're not, then you're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out. Here, where is my music? Where is my music? Here we go. We are back on TikTok. We're gonna try this again. We're gonna try this again. All right, YouTube, thank you for your patience. Halo. All right, let's get into this thing. If you're there, thank you for being there. If you're not there, that's normal. All right, let's get into this thing. All right, so now, well, I'm talking to myself, but it's all good. It is all good. Let me see what I have going on over here. Why my little apparatus doesn't want to work properly so that the people can hear me. Let's see. Let's see. This is my prayer. That's my prayer time, by the way, 2:22 Eastern. That's the time that I pray. While I wait for everybody to come in, I say prayer, meditate prayer. What is prayer but a guided, a guiding of your thoughts into one particular place, all right? Just guiding your energy. So this is mine. Universe, God, or whatever spiritual entities you align with. We give thanks and gratitude for opening the pathways to freedom and abundance. For all endeavors that we choose to take on. Thank you for opening the pathways to freedom and abundance. Our hearts are full of gratitude because we know that it is so. You said that where there are two or more of us that come together in agreement, then there you are. And I say to you, there are millions of us in agreement, and we give you all the gratitude and the glory, and we thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the keys. Thank you for the deed. Thank you for the free and clear title to all that we claim in this dimension. We ask that you continue to guide us such that we walk in the path of all that is good and righteous. Ashe. This is my prayer. All right, let's get into this thing. Thank y'all for joining. YouTube, TikTok. I want y'all to remember we've got the UNA Beginner Law Book. If you want this law book, go to unauniversity.com or find the link in the bio. All right, get this book. If you get the physical version, it comes with a laminated copy of the Hierarchy of Laws chart. It comes with a laminated copy of the Universal Laws. It comes with a laminated copy of the vibratory frequency chart. All right, so they're all in the book. We give them to you because we want you to put them up, put them on your walls, put them on your mirrors, put them on your refrigerator. Make this law become a part of you. This is a very powerful book. I encourage you to go and get it. Go to unauniversity.com or find the link in the bio. Welcome, everybody. I love you. Thank you for joining. Let's get into this. We're talking about law, all right, and history, rather. We're talking about history. Now, a lot of times when I go into history, I'll be accused of hate speech, or I'll be accused of being a separatist. And the deal about this is, and everybody can finish this sentence. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Everybody knows that. But then when it comes into getting into the truth about history, a lot of people can't take it because it's not pretty for any of us. Not for women, not for men, not for melanated people, not for Albions, not for government, not for anybody. It's not pretty. But the deal is, if we're not aware of what the true history is, then we're once again going to continue to repeat it. And then you're going to keep trying to build with people because and not be able to do it because you don't know who they are. You don't understand the truth about the people who you're trying to contract with. All right. So we've got to understand what's really going on. Welcome, D Walt. Thank you, Don, for joining. Okay, so we've got to come into an understanding about what's truly going on in history and society and who's who. So I'm going to go into it a little bit today. Hopefully I'm not going to get flagged for hate speech. All right. But we've got to know the facts about what's really going on. And hopefully you all are not going to try to flag me for being a separatist. Listen, we got to know the truth. We've been made to think that, oh, well, we all dark skinned, we all the same. That's not the case. It's not just Albions who are lying to you. Please understand that. It's not Albions only who are lying to you about what went on in history. There's some melanated people who are lying to you. And when we really understand history, we understand that it was melanated people who came in and did dirt to another group of melanated people in this land. We need to start recognizing who's who and being willing to understand people's nature. Then you can build with them. If you're trying to build on lies, forget it. You'll forever be down. You will forever be fighting. All right. So we got to understand what's going on. Now, I always go back to recognizing who the Europeans were. Let's just start there. You'll hear a lot of people say, oh, the Europeans came in here and they did such and such and such. Well, who were the Europeans? Who were the original Europeans? Those were melanated people. This is why you hear them call the Albion, you hear them call them Indo-European. Indo. Well, why you had that prefix on there? What's that about? Well, it has to do with the fact that these Indo-Europeans were not the original Europeans. The original Europeans were dark skinned. They were also known as Moors. So when you hear about, oh, the Europeans came in here and did, it was dark skinned people who came in here and took over the original people of the land, degraded their status, and then started to enslave them. All right. We've got to come into knowledge of that because to this day, there's still a group of melanated people working with another group of people who are known as British who are trying to steal the land. All right. Who are still trying to steal the land from the original people to this day. Or what's the problem? The original people, they think they came from Africa. The original people keep calling themselves black and colored and Negro and African American and descendants of the slaves. Every time they take on a title, every time you take on this title, you deny your inheritance to this land. And so this is why you have to become aware of the truth about history. Don't be so knee-jerky when you hear me say all skin folk ain't kinfolk, because they're not. Just because they are your same color does not mean that they are for you. And let's understand this goes to the spiritual side. The spiritual side. That same person who is your skin color, you might think they for you, but on a spiritual level, they've been fighting you and don't have a choice but to continue to fight you. But you're trying to build with them and not recognizing the fact that they are not even of you. But because y'all got the same skin color, you're just thinking, oh, okay, they with me. Listen, you got to start judging people by the content of their character. Didn't somebody famous say that? Didn't somebody, who was that? Martin Luther King. He too was paid at one point to make you believe that you came from somewhere that you didn't. So let's understand this. We're all mixed with some of everything. So inside, internally, we're fighting ourselves. That's another thing we got to come into understanding about. So when I say some of everything, I'm talking about Albion. I'm talking about so-called Moor or people from another land. I'm talking about the original people of the land. I'm talking about people who came from whatever Germany. You mix with some of everything. You from New Orleans, Lord, you got French in you, possibly. You got Hispanic or Spaniard in you. So I'm saying to you that on a spiritual level, we mix with all kind of everything. So first of all, this is why it's important when I have the university, and as a matter of fact, I got to get out of here in a few minutes and go into the university. But what's so important about it is we got to understand who we are on a molecular level. Who are we? And once you get yourself in order, then you can start trying to contract with somebody else. The problem is we don't even know who we are, where you come from. Why are you calling yourself African and African American and descendants of the slaves and all this other stuff? Who are you? Do you understand your own makeup? Then once you get that in order, then you can start dealing with other people, understanding where they are spiritually aligned. Then that's when you can build with them. But you keep trying to build with people who don't know who they are. You don't know who you are. Y'all tearing each other down, and you don't even understand it's a spiritual thing. Yeah, we got to get through that. But today, I'm just going into the history so that we can understand some things that have happened. And then we can start to begin to put the puzzle pieces together. All right, let's go on this. Now, I talk about how the Moors, or people from Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, Morocco, Britain, came into the land. Now, these are known as your Barbary countries. All right. When you look up the Barbary Company, you're going to find that it was Britain who owned this company. And when you look up the partners who were part of that corporation, you'll find once again Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma's a part of that. And Britain, once again, was the owner of it. So what they were doing was trading, mostly sugar, and they've been doing this since the uh, early 1500s. They've been in business together. So you understand that uh, Columbus did his sail in 1492. So Britain and all of these companies, they were already joined in alignment around that time. Why is that important? Because when you talk about Morocco, people are flying this Moroccan flag and they're talking about, oh, I'm a Moor, and they're saying, they're taking on a title that deals with people who are coming from outside of the land. When we go back to the SF 181 form and we look at the term white, we find that that term white dealt with melanated people through and through. So I'm going to go through this again, and you all can go and look up this SF 181 form. This is where your ethnicity was declared on a federal level. So when you're saying white, there's three categories that determine white. One, the original people of Europe. Those are melanated people. And even if we go back to Europe was named after a melanated woman, Queen Europa. All right. Two, the peoples of the Middle East, the original people of the Middle East. What? Those are melanated people. Three, the peoples of North Africa. Well, what you talking about? Morocco? Those are only three groups that the term white deals with. All those are melanated people. All of them. So when we're talking about the term white, let us once again understand that didn't deal with light-skinned people. So why is it that all of the people who are taking on this term white happen to be light-skinned? Because history has been lying to us, or somebody's lied to us about history, because they didn't originally take on the term white. They took on the term of the country where they're from. Oh, I'm Sicilian, I'm German, I'm Italian. They didn't say the term white until recently. All right. So now we're understanding who the original Europeans were. We're understanding who the original white people were. White means ruler of land, royalty, purity of blood. That's what white means. Doesn't have anything to do with skin color. It is a status. All right. So you're understanding when the people who came in to create the United States of America, they were Moors. Those were melanated people. So we're talking about 1777. All right. There were, by the way, presidents before George Washington. There were presidents before George Washington. They were Moors. They were melanated. They were from another land. See, this is why I have you, people ask me, well, what we need to read, Diva? What book you want us to? This is what I want you to read. Go read the Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. Read the legal documentations that came about to create the United States of America. And when you read the Declaration of Independence, it's going to clearly state that the ones who created it are immigrants. And it uses that term, immigrants, meaning they are not of the land. But y'all have been made to think these were Albions. You all have been made to think they were Christian when they were not. As a matter of fact, you'll hear some people say, oh, the Constitution is based off Christian principles. No, it's not. And then you hear other people say, oh, the Constitution is based off of Islam. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, it's based off of the Iroquois Confederacy, which was created by the original people of the land known as North America or the Americas. The Iroquois Confederacy, look it up. So it's based off of a group of melanated people, Moors, from other lands, immigrants who came into the land and established what we know of as the United States of America. Now, they purposely did not want it based on religion. It had nothing to do with religion whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I need to go back to Christopher Columbus. And forgive me because I have a tendency, those two, Columbus and Washington. But we're talking about Christopher Columbus, who came close to the Americas in 1492 and is said to have found America, which most of us are aware that that's not what happened. Okay, so in 1492, I need y'all to understand a lot of pivotal things happened. Queen Isabella of Spain had defeated the Sultan of Morocco, and the Sultan of Morocco had ceded all of his territories to Queen Isabella of Spain. Now, Queen Isabella of Spain was kicking everybody out of the country who was not a Christian, and stated as such, if you are not a Christian, if you're not a Christian, you got to leave this country. And Christopher Columbus was either a Muslim or a Jew. Now, I need y'all to understand, back in this time, 1492, if you're a Muslim or a Jew, you were melanated. Those are melanated people. Now, some stories will say he was Muslim again, some will say he was Jew. That's why I tell you, I've done, in my research, I found both. So I'm just letting you know it was either or, but regardless of which one, he was melanated. But he converted from Muslim or Judaism or whatever he was to Christianity to keep from being kicked out of the country by Queen Isabella, who had taken over the territory back from the Muslims, or the Morocco. She had taken the territory back over. Joshua says he was a Jesuit. All right, whatever. He was melanated. They want you to believe he was Albion. That's more whitewashing of history. But at any rate, when Columbus, he converted, but his purpose in seeking this newfound territory, this new land, was to find a place where his people could go without being persecuted because of their religious principles. All right? When Columbus was deciding to sail, his purpose was to find a territory where his people, whomever he was dealing with, was at first he was either Jew or Muslim, where they could go without being persecuted for their religious beliefs or principles. All right? So when he goes into this territory, once he found, oh, there is new land, then of course this alerted everybody else. So then you get these Moors that are coming from other lands, Tunis, Algiers, Montezuma, but they didn't want anything to do with any royalty. They didn't want anything to do with somebody persecuting them for their religious principles. So when the United States of America was established, those were two main things that they put into the Constitution, that you have rights to religious freedom or religious freedom, and that this wouldn't, you were not allowed to be a part of any royalty, duchess, king, queen, any of that royalty. You were not allowed to be president of the United States of America. That was the original 13th Amendment. And y'all go look up the original 13th Amendment, and that's where you'll find. It's called the Nobility Clause, whereby if you were a president or any kind of relation, if you were any kind of relations to any kind of royalty, then you weren't qualified. So that was taken out. When was it taken out? In 1789, when George Washington came into play. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, when George Washington came into presidency, he was a direct descendant of the Queen of England. He was not qualified to be a president because he had royalty in his blood. Well, he was the first crony to Britain, and everybody from George Washington all the way down to Barack Obama were related by blood. They were related by blood. This is when they took over with George Washington. So every president you have been voting for since then has only been a part of Britain. This is when they first started to take over and get their clutches back into the United States. So I'm going to go into this and then I'm going to get out of here. Okay, so we understand what's going on. When these Moors, what I call them elite Moors, because they had knowledge of law and contracting and how to put people under spells. They had some serious knowledge. They come in and they created the United States of America. This first 13 years before George Washington comes in, they call that the Continental Congress. Well, let me help you understand something. If the United States of America was incorporated in 1777, y'all know when you incorporate anything, anybody who's ever incorporated anything, you know that the law is you have to have a president, vice president, secretary, chair, and all the other board members. Otherwise, it's not considered a true legal entity. So you're going to tell me George Washington comes in here 13 years later in 1789, when this thing started in 1777, and they didn't have a presidency? I'm going to tell you somebody's not telling the truth. They had presidents before George Washington, at least 6 of them. At least. So now, thank you, MZ. So we're understanding that there were presidents before Washington. Washington comes in here. He was the first crony to Britain. And everybody from him, Washington, all the way up to Barack Obama, until today, whoever the presidents are today, whatever their names are, they are still under British rule. So you haven't been voting for anything serious in here trying to, if you think you're trying to vote for a president and, oh, I'm trying to do something good for the country, you're just constantly feeding a British foreign entity that has taken over the land, infiltrated. All right. So why is all of this important? Once again, you're understanding that Britain has taken over this whole game. And in order to deal with that or stop that, you got to get back to the Republic. But even going back to the Republic, you need to understand that there were Moors that came in and they were from another land. And I also need y'all to understand that those Moors, this group of melanated people, they were the ones who degraded the status of the original people of the land, meaning that the original people of the land originally had status. They had a standing. They were considered Indians or people of the land. Well, when these Moors created the United States of America, they degraded that. and started calling them Negro and black and colored. All right. One moment. So when all of this stuff started taking place, then they started stepping on the original people of the land and they started enslaving them. All right. Now, I need to get into the spiritual side of this because what you need to understand is, once again, I just told you it was melanated people who enslaved another melanated people. Well, when you do that, you have put out an energy, and then that energy has to be returned. Not only did these melanated people enslave the melanated people of the land, but they also enslaved the Albion. If you look into the Barbary treaties, you'll understand what was going on. Ships were being seized. Well, who was owning these ships? These ships were coming. Once again, who are the Barbary countries? Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, Morocco, all of these melanated countries. And they're doing trade. Well, what are they trading? What's coming in? We'll start looking it up. They were slaves. And these were Albion slaves, where they would go and kidnap these Albions from their lands. Tunis would go into Italy or Ireland. And then they would kidnap these children and bring them into the land as slaves. Yeah, they're not telling you that. That's what you need to know. The original slaves were Albion. Look up the etymology of slave, and what you're going to find is Slavic or Slovakian. Those were non-melanated people. Look it up so we can start understanding what's really going on and what the true history was. Well, there were melanated people enslaving Albions. There were melanated people who enslaved the original melanated people of the land. The original people of the land were enslaving Albions too, because if there's this trade of slaves, they're not going to keep trading and kidnapping these people unless somebody is paying them for it. Well, who was paying them for it? Well, even if you look up the 5 civilized tribes, you'll find out that they were very embedded in slavery and buying slaves. Well, everybody had a part in this. So everybody has to pay. Everybody had a part in it, and everybody has to pay. So when you are seeing melanated people who went through whatever period of enslavement, because they want to tell you 400, 500 years, that's just a lie, because of the simple fact that up into the mid 1800s, it was the Moors or melanated people running the United States of America. They were still running it. Even though in 1789, England had infiltrated it, there were still melanated people running this land. Listen, I need y'all to understand something. When you start talking about the whole, the massive hangings, and I'm going to get out of here, but when you start talking about the hangings that took place in the 1800s, I want to tell you those were slaves. I need y'all to understand those were not slaves. Melanated people were running the Americas all the way up to the mid 1800s. They were, listen, melanated people were lawyers, doctors, slave owners, plantation owners, land owners. They owned banks and were bankers. So you got to understand all this stuff about, oh, melanated people came over here as slaves. That's just not true. That is not true. And when you start looking at the people who were hung, it doesn't even make sense. If you're telling me that I can take somebody, I see a melanated person walking, and I see them walking, and then all of a sudden I can kidnap them and turn them into a slave. That's money. Why would I hang money? Whose slaves were these that they were hanging, by the way, if all melanated people were slaves? Who's slaves? Because you hanging my money. It doesn't make sense. Because that's not what happened. The people who they were hanging were Moors. When the Spaniards came in, they gave them an option. Either you're going to turn over your goods to us or you're going to die. That's who was being hung. Because you can't make someone with knowledge a slave. You understand? You can't make somebody with knowledge a slave. Once they have knowledge and they know law, they can't be a slave. But you can definitely take them out. And that's what happened. That's what happened. That they were not slaves, they had knowledge. And so there was no way to make them a slave. So, okay, well, if you're not going to turn over your riches, then we're going to take you out. Now, the only way that could happen is if you've put out an energy to deserve that. This is why today you'll see melanated people, they're in their enslavement. If you want to know who enslaved the Albion and why the Albion, some of these Albions have such a disdain for melanated people and this inward all the time. Why? Where's that coming from? That's an energy. That's not happenstance. That's just not because, oh, they was taught. That came from someplace. That's an energy that's in them. I told you, we are still fighting on a spiritual level. So when you're seeing this energy, you're seeing something from back in the past. Albions don't even know why they had such kind of energy. They don't get it. But when you do your research and you understand history and you understand universal laws, you get it. Yeah, they got that energy because they were there. They're returning an energy. All right, they are returning an energy to the people who put it out on them. All right, so I'm giving you this information to let you know. First of all, you need to know history. Then you got to understand the spiritual side of this game. Thank you, D. Walton. I appreciate the love. And once again, the people who came in here and established the United States of America, they were Moors. They were melanated people. They were immigrants from another land. And yes, they had too much knowledge, such that they were running this thing all the way up to the mid-1800s. And they were doing some dirty deeds. Let's keep that in mind. Don't make them out to just be, oh, they victims. No, they weren't. They did some dirt. They brought in slaves. They enslaved the original people. Just Judith, thank you for the love. And so now when you put out this energy, it's got to return. It's got to return. And so when you see melanated people getting whatever done to them, you want to know who was bringing in the slaves? Go look in the prison industrial complex. The energy must be returned. And this is why I'm making sure we know history so that we don't repeat it. If you see somebody getting whatever done to them, you feel like it's dirt or whatever, there are no victims. If they're receiving it, they put it out somewhere. And especially you see a whole group of people receiving a specific type of energy, they put that energy out somewhere. If we want to clean it up and make sure we don't repeat, then we better recognize who we were, what we did, and clean up the energies so that we can move forward into the dimension that we want to see. All right? I want y'all to know I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Lie, whatever you say. Whatever you say, Lyle, but I need you to do your research, all right? Before y'all just listen to people who just spewing stuff. Don't even believe me. Don't believe me. I want you to do your research. I want you to know I love you. Judah said, karma is a biatch. Yes. But see, if you make karma do that, then it's you the biatch. All right? It's karma's only giving you what you gave her. So if you don't want this energy returned to you, make sure you don't put it out. Make sure we clean it up so that we know who we are and what we're designing in our new dimension. I love y'all. I got to get out of here. I got class. UNA University heading in. Peace. I'm out. Bye-bye. UNA. Yeah. All right, I'm out.